Hi, my name is Paul Lipton, and I'm the author of the book, The House on Genesis Road. It's my third book. The first was Hour of the Wolf, and the second was In These Five Breaths. I'm delighted that the wonderful Boulder Bookstore has given me an opportunity to talk about The House on Genesis Road.
Can you give us a brief synopsis of your novel?
Yes, I've always been a hopeless romantic, and I've always loved to read stories on love and romance, but I never read a story where the couple was really married for almost their entire lives to each other. And in this case, the wife is gravely ill, and the husband finally has to come to terms with what does true love feel like and look like? What does devotion look like? How far would each one go for the other to live a life of meaning and purpose? And what I label a never-ending love is in fact love timeless and ageless, and can they go and have a love beyond time and space?
What inspired you to write this book?
I've always been fascinated by time and how people seem to limit themselves by the calendar and the clock and put themselves in a bind, so to speak, where they don't see that they're more and they can be grander. So the concept of this was, can we go outside the limitations that we put on ourselves and society puts on us and live a life that goes beyond time and space? Are we spirits that when this tangible part is over, continue to live a rich and full life?
Why did you decide to use the framework of a letter to tell this story?
I wanted to get really personal with this, and I thought the best way I could do it was by having a father write a letter to his daughters about courage, faith, living a life fearlessly and not being defined by others. And I thought if I wrote this letter, it could become a very personal story and break the bounds of normal storytelling. And that's why I decided to tell this love story through the form of a letter to his children, almost to a certain extent, a legacy letter. How to live a life of purpose and meaning and not be bound by the definitions of society.
How much of yourself is in the narrator of this story?
Well, I like to think that the narrator is the person I would hope to be, someone that is thoughtful and reflecting on the meaning of true love, devotion. What does family really mean? The lessons that we all take from life. How do we create a universe that our family feels safe and can grow? So I like to think that the narrator is a wise me, wiser than I am.
Can you tell us about your writing process?
Yes, I can. I usually start with the first 3 sentences in a book. In Hour of the Wolf, I started with one day, once gone, it's gone forever. In These Five Breaths, I wrote about there are a few breaths left, maybe 5 or 6, and then I let the story unfold. In this case, the house on Genesis Road is a major part of the story. It is the sanctuary of this couple. So I wanted to start this story as talking about this house and how the house created a universe for these people and became almost an altar to their faith and belief in a greater being. So I used the beginning of the house, how the house is important as a sanctuary, and then the story unfolded from there. To a great extent, it permitted me to use the house, and this ties in with the letter to the daughters. It permits me to travel back and forth in time so that time is not linear. This book goes back and forth, the past, the present, the future, and the house and that structure permitted me to do that.
What are a couple of books you read during the pandemic that you really loved?
I have a habit of rereading books that have always stayed with me and helped me so much. During the pandemic, two particular books that I reread was The Picture of Dorian Gray and The Beast in the Jungle. Oscar Wilde, obviously, was The Picture of Dorian Gray, and Henry James wrote The Beast in the Jungle. And those books are, to me at least, are all about living a life that matters, having a moral code, a moral compass, not wasting time. And we're given this gift, and we should use it wisely and in a generous, kind way. So those two books really impacted me.
Is there anything else you want us to know about your book?
I think I just would like you to visit the house on Genesis Road and take the journey with this man as he writes about his love for his wife, his devotion to her, and his family, his children, and how we can go beyond the bounds of this crazy upside down world we're living in, that we can find a sanctuary, peace, and it all comes back to relationships and the love of a family.
Can you read us a short passage from your book?
Yeah, I'd like to do that if you don't mind. And this is a very short passage, but this is what I'd like to share with you. I think it gives you a sense of the story. Time and life are such puzzles, they hardly make sense. You work, you strive, you love, you marry, you have children, and on and on. But to what end? What's the objective? Sooner or later, if you have a life partner, one of you will find yourself sitting at the bedside of the one who means the most to you as they take their last breath. In that quiet moment, all you can do is be present. Probably more present than ever before, because you know there is no other place you'd rather be, no other place to go to, nothing more important, finally. No multitasking should be done at this point. Better to be single-minded, focused like never before. Put all your focus on your partner's life, the life that is not yours. The question rushing through the man's mind now was, are there truly only relationships, not individual lives? Are we human if we don't have a way of connecting, not with just other people, but with animals, plants, the mountains, the streams, the oceans, and the universe itself? He longed to be connected to the cosmos. If energy is our common denominator, then we cannot be truly alive unless we are connected to a larger, grander story, a story of biblical proportions, a story that began before we physically appeared, and a story that continues after our bodies dissolve. If this were not the case, then we would be nothing more than empty plastic containers bobbing in the middle of a vast ocean. The man couldn't believe that this would be our destiny. All this majesty put in place for just a fleeting second in the history of time and space. We can't just be here having no lasting value, meaning, direction, intention, or reason. I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to this, and I also want to thank the amazing Boulder Bookstore. They're a gem.